In 2017, the Malian military government and the Russian private military company Wagner Group signed an army contract. Wagner mercenaries entered Mali to help the Malian government combat insurgent groups. Due to their superior training and weaponry, Wagner's operations in Mali succeeded. However, in late July 2024, the Wagner mercenaries experienced a significant defeat in Mali. On July 22, 2024, Wagner mercenaries and Malian soldiers received intelligence that the main anti-government group in Mali, CMA, Coordination of Azawad Movements, had military personnel operating in Tinzoutin. To gather more intelligence, a reconnaissance team of about 90 men, consisting of Wagner mercenaries and Malian soldiers, was dispatched to Tinzoutin. This small reconnaissance unit was led by the commander of Wagner's 13th Assault Unit, Sergei Shevchenko, whose call sign was Pond. They traveled in 20 vehicles, including VP-11M RAPs produced by China's Norinco. On July 23rd, near Bugessa, the reconnaissance team encountered an IED, but successfully neutralized it, indicating the presence of rebels nearby. They continued their advance. On July 25th, in the vicinity of Tinzoutin, the team discovered traces of the insurgents. They identified approximately 100 CMA fighters and 10 armed pickup trucks. The Wagner commander decided to immediately launch an assault on this small group of insurgents. With the support of armed helicopters, the Wagner mercenaries and Malian soldiers initiated the attack. The assault was highly successful, catching the insurgents off guard. They were quickly defeated and began to flee. About 50 insurgents were killed, 6 pickup trucks were destroyed, and there were no casualties on the Wagner side. Encouraged by this victory, the Wagner and Malian soldiers continued to pursue the fleeing insurgents. However, the weather deteriorated, and a sandstorm began. Typically, during reconnaissance operations, a helicopter would fly ahead to provide cover and forward information, preventing ambushes. However, due to the sandstorm, the helicopter could not fly, leaving the reconnaissance team without air support. Nevertheless, the Wagner commander, confident in his superiority, decided to press on. On July 25th, the reconnaissance team entered the Tinzoutin area and again encountered a small group of insurgents. However, the insurgents did not flee far, but instead maintained contact with the reconnaissance team. Sensing a possible trap, Wagner commander Pond chose not to retreat. He set up a circular defensive position and called for reinforcements from headquarters, hoping the weather would improve and allow for air cover to manage any larger insurgent presence. The Wagner commander's bold decision to remain was largely due to his underestimation of the insurgents. After years of warfare with Malian insurgents, Wagner had often defeated numerically superior forces, leading him to believe the insurgents were poorly trained and poorly equipped. However, he was unaware that this time the CMA forces had received support from the Al-Qaeda-linked JNIM Group for the Support of Islam and Muslims. The insurgent force numbered around 1,000, 10 times the size of the reconnaissance team, including many experienced fighters and equipped with mortars and suicide drones. The CMA and JNIM had set a trap, intending to annihilate the Wagner and Malian reconnaissance unit. On July 26th, the CMA and JNIM forces launched their attack. With superior numbers and firepower, they inflicted casualties on the Wagner and Malian forces. Including wounding the Wagner commander Pond twice. As the situation deteriorated, Wagner and Malian forces dispatched reinforcements to Tinzoutin to rescue the besieged reconnaissance team. Despite the continuing sandstorm, Wagner helicopter pilots risked flying to support their comrades. An Mi-24 and an Mi-8 helicopter arrived in the combat zone. Due to the sandstorm, they had to fly at lower altitudes than usual, increasing the risk of being hit by ground fire. The CMA and JNIM had anticipated Wagner's use of armed helicopters and prepared significant anti-aircraft defenses. Indeed, the Mi-24 was shot down during the battle. And the Mi-8 was damaged, forcing it to return to base. With the situation becoming increasingly dire, Commander Pond ordered a retreat, hoping to use their vehicle's mobility to escape before being fully surrounded by insurgents and rendezvous with the Wagner reinforcements. On the night of July 26th, the reconnaissance team began evacuating their camp. However, they were unaware that JNIM had dispatched elite fighters who had planted numerous IEDs and set up an ambush along a valley road they would use for their withdrawal. On July 27th, during the day, as the convoy passed through this valley, the IEDs were detonated, destroying many of their vehicles. Some MR apps were even blown into the air. Many Wagner mercenaries and Malian soldiers were killed in the explosions, with numerous others wounded. JNIM fighters then launched an attack from the high ground on both sides of the valley, sniping at the survivors. The remaining Wagner mercenaries and Malian soldiers established a defensive position and continued to fight. As the day wore on, and with the arrival of additional CMA fighters, including heavy weapons such as mortars, the situation worsened. One by one, the Wagner soldiers were killed. At 5:10 p.m. on July 27th, Wagner soldiers posted a final message on their Telegram channel. "There are only 3 of us left. We continue to fight." Ultimately, the Wagner and Malian reconnaissance team was annihilated. Reports suggest that 70 to 80 members were killed and about 10 wounded were captured. This battle marked the largest defeat for Wagner and the Malian military since 2017. Though this engagement was relatively small, it serves as a stark reminder of the growing global trend toward division and conflict. Since the collapse of the Soviet Union, the peace brought by globalization appears to be ending, with the world increasingly splitting into 2 hostile camps. As economic divides deepen, more conflicts are likely to arise. The small war in Mali may be a prelude to greater turmoil, much like the proxy wars in Africa during the Cold War, where the Soviets and Cubans faced off against the United States and South Africa. A new Cold War may be the best outcome we can hope for.